This is Chelsea and I's very first live stream on our BC Dance Passion channel, and it could be a beautiful disaster, which is what I warned her about already. I could be talking right now, and no one could be able to hear me, so I have my microphone hooked in. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. But I'm sure you saw the thumbnail and you saw the title of the video, so we have The Time Is Now and Don't Put Off Starting. So Chelsea and I have been thinking about this a lot lately, and really the avenue of life that we're trying to move into is more of this coaching atmosphere, not just coaching dance, but just coaching life in general. And the same principles that we've used to get us our state, our national, and our world title in dance are the same principles that can be extrapolated out and applied to almost any facet of your life that you can think of, from how you eat to how you train to how you start a new hobby or anything like that. So that's the whole idea behind what it is that we're trying to do. And again, since we're at the start of the live stream, if anyone in the comment section could just kind of let us know if the audio is okay or if we need to dial it up or down, you'll have to let us know if you can. Other than that, when I say like the time is now, don't put off starting, what are your immediate thoughts and what would you share with people?
About how I would start.
Well, what do we mean when we say like don't the time is now, like don't put your life off.
I think that the thing that gets to me typically when I go to start something new or when we started doing our own business was all of the thought process. Like I have to make a list of the pros and cons of everything, which I still think is good. I still have to do that process, but sometimes for me, I overthink everything. I overanalyze and I think of like all of the outcomes that could possibly come out of every decision that I make, which is a good thing. But Brandon's a good balance of he's like, as soon as he's made his mind up, he's like on it and he wants to get started and he's excited and he's got hopeful thoughts. He's only thinking of the best case scenario, which is a good balance because
I'm kind of the hopeful idiot,
I,
and Chelsea
I come in
is.
with a little bit of reality, maybe a little too much reality.
Hmm.
But I think that like stop waiting. The time is now. Like our video that we did earlier this week, take control of your life. Sometimes the over analyzing things and thinking through things can kind of bog you down and keep you from moving forward at all.
Hmm.
So I think, is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, kinda. I also think that where we currently stand, so obviously this isn't going to be like evergreen content. We're in a certain period of time right now, but like things are crazy if you pay attention at all on a political spectrum. So, a lot of people are putting off certain life decisions because they're waiting to see what happens in November, because of course this is an election year. So again, you can kind of bury your head in the sand and not pay attention. You can pay attention, in my opinion, too much and let it basically paralyze you. And what I've seen people do is things like, well, I'm not going to take that vacation because this could happen. I'm not going to start my business because I'm not sure how.
Like these could be like it's the over analyzing.
Yes, and there's pragmatic and practical reasons why someone wouldn't do something, and that's perfectly understandable, but there's a difference between a practical reason why you shouldn't do something and a more emotional response as to why you're scared of doing something, and that's altogether different.
I like that. Like being able to identify, is it a reasonable concern moving forward, or is it just your fear and excuses?
Yes.
Like being able to discern between the two and getting wise counsel. That way, you're not just repeating these questions inside of your own head. You're able to get someone outside of yourself to come in and be like, okay, this is a fear and this is a legit concern.
Right, exactly. And I mean, of course, we were just talking about like big things and why there could be practical reasons why you don't do it and other reasons why you're potentially scared. I'm just going to use our life as an example. One of our aspects of our profession is professionally teaching people how to either socially dance, performance dance, or competitively dance. And one of the things that we'll hear from people if they figure out that we're dance teachers or something is like, "Oh my gosh, I'd love to learn how to dance, but I'm afraid of looking dumb." or I have two left feet, or, I really need to wait for the fall. Fall is an interesting season that everyone seems to say, I need to wait for the fall. But a lot of it is they'll throw up as a shield or a defense for themselves, a justification for themselves, why they don't want to learn how to dance because, well, I just don't have the time right now, or I don't have the money, or I don't have the this. And all of those things sound very good. And again, they're very practical. But at the same time, there might be a layer or a subtext underneath that statement that actually is more fear based.
Yeah.
You're afraid of pulling the trigger because you're afraid of looking stupid.
Yeah.
Or you're afraid of what your peers will think, or your family will think. Why are you spending your money on that? It's those kinds of things. And learning how to dance socially is a silly example, but it is an example of, take dance out of it
Yeah.
and insert anything into it.
Yeah, as simple as that. As simple as that. And like even to like expound upon that, when we like I've had people where I've like talked to them, I'm like, you need to start posting this. Like you're good at this thing. Like why not just use it? It's free advertising. So start posting about it. And typically the answer is, well, I don't have the right equipment. I don't have the time. I'm not really interested in sharing my personal stuff. And typically, like you're saying, like these excuses are because of you're fearful of what might happen, what could possibly come out of it, as opposed to thinking in an opposite direction of what might happen, what could possibly come out of this beneficially for me. So we keep making these excuses on top of excuses in order to keep us safe and not have to kind of like expound and think outside of the box and put a little bit of risk into action.
And here's where the hopeful idiot comes in. So, I'm
that
actually,
you?
yes, I am. And hopefully you have a hopeful idiot in your life who brings that energy.
And if
So
not, find one.
exactly.
Or you got Brandon here.
Or you got to be your own. Or yeah, here I am, with all the hair coming out my face. I look like a chia pet right now. So I'm actually really happy that you brought up social media. So we can use social media as an example. And again, like whatever we say is going to be kind of broad, so you have to narrow it down into your specific desire, whether it's starting a business or it's beginning a training program or it's changing the way that you eat. Whatever it happens to be, you've got to narrow it down for you. But I'm glad that we can use social media as like a sort of like a jumping point. So in terms of what you were talking about with posting things, like let's just use Instagram as an example. So you have a craft or a hobby or a profession and you're getting fairly good at it, or you feel like you're good at it, and you have this thing out there that will do free advertising for you. All you have to do is set up a camera, record yourself, take that photo, post it, whatever it happens to be, and get started. But a lot of people, like you said, are scared of a couple of things, but they'll throw out practical excuses as to why they can't do said thing.
Right.
So a couple of the practical excuses you were talking about would be, I don't have the right equipment. I don't know what time of day to post. I'm trying to think of other excuses. I can't think of excuses because I have a very hard time with them. Like, I just want to get started now.
Sometimes you can have excuses. You like to have like some things like in order prior to, whereas I'm just like, well, like
Okay.
we do kind of flip sometimes with that.
Okay, I've got to have the right lighting.
Yes.
Like right now, this isn't the lighting that I love.
Yeah,
There
he's
would
not
be
happy with the lighting.
there'd be 3 or 4 other lights set up, but we don't have time for that. I am happy that we have the microphone. Again, still hoping that you guys can hear me loud and clear on the other side of this.
I think so.
Otherwise, this will be a nice waste of 9 minutes and 20 seconds.
Hey, you tried.
Yeah, exactly. We tried. So maybe I don't have the right microphone and I think it'll sound like crap. Just kind of think of any excuse that you can that sounds really practical on the surface. But then the subtext to that, the underneath to that is I'm afraid that other people in my field
We'll
are,
see it.
well, they'll see it, they'll make fun of it, like kind of
Yes.
behind my back. Maybe they'll gossip about me behind the scenes,
Which they will.
or they'll leave you, a nasty comment, something. It doesn't matter what it is. The fear of being judged by others is a real and legitimate fear.
Yeah.
But you again have this free platform for advertising your craft or your hobby or whatever it happens to be. And you could start a community not 6 months from now, but you could start the community tomorrow. And then if you're consistent for 3 to 6 months, well, then you're 3 to 6 months ahead of your plan. Again, if you wait for the fall, you're starting there rather than starting tomorrow and building on from there. So I'm trying to think of where I was going with that, but do you have any thoughts to piggyback
You
off
were
of
saying
that?
something about not starting with posts and stuff.
No, I was just using social media as an example because, again, social media is free and it's an opportunity for you to get started.
I think really truly the biggest reason people do not get started on social media is because you're putting yourself out there. You're putting yourself out there for judgment, you're putting yourself out there for failure, you're putting yourself out there for failure not just for yourself, but for others to see. And I think that self-image is kind of a pitfall. Like it just keeps you from enjoying anything because you're so afraid of what other people think of you. The things are going to come. Like you're going to get people that are going to be spiteful or hateful and not encourage you and ridicule you. You need to know when to not listen to those people and stick it out. It's just like going to the gym. When you first enter the gym, you're not quite sure if it's actually going to help you with that whatever condition that you're trying to get into. You're not sure how long it's going to take, how your body's going to like it's going to respond. Maybe it responds for this person and not that person. There's a lot of what ifs and not knowing what's going on, but you just have to take that first step. And then once you've taken that first step, why stop while it's going? Like why not wait it out? If everything that's worth anything takes time, you can't expect to go in for a week, go in for a month and get this huge turnover and like a lot of things that, but I'm just using social media as an example. A lot of posts right now for social media is, follow my account because I went from like 500 to like 500,000 in a month. And
500,000 followers.
yeah, followers, sorry, that's what I meant. Um and it's just like this overnight success story. It doesn't exist. Like unless you're paying for followers, which a lot of people do, which isn't worth it. You're not gonna get anything out of that. They're bots. A lot of people want a quick turnover. They want quick money and quick success, and they're used to paying money in order to get that. And that's less stressful on you, and there's not as much at stake at that point, but the turnout for that, whatever is bought can be sold. Whatever is quick can be quickly gone. So I think that once you take that initial step into the gym, into whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, don't quit 1 week in, 30 days in, even sometimes a year in. Keep going and stay. Consistency is the key. And you have to eliminate the other thought processes. You're going to have moments where you're struggling, but and sometimes you'll fall off the bandwagon. Just get back onto it and keep going. The persistence is the most important part with that.
Yeah, I think in a couple minutes here we'll slip into like a general Q&A because yesterday on Instagram, Chelsea went ahead and did she said that we were going to be going live and she asked people to ask us some questions, and we actually selected a few that we really, really liked because each of these questions we could talk about for a little bit of time, but
Right, we're only going to do a few because we want to be able to like
answer each of them
answer them. Yeah.
But I think to kind of piggyback off of what you said, there's like these slogans that people use that, you said earlier, anything that is worthwhile takes a while to achieve. And it's that slogan exists and it has persisted for thousands of years because it's absolutely true. If you're going to make a change when it comes to how you eat or your health or how you manage your life or
How you get sleep.
how you get sleep, how you prepare for a presentation that you're doing work, or how you prepare for,
A dance competition.
yep, dance competition. Any of the things that we're talking about, again, the formula is always going to be the same, but it's consistent small steps over time. And even when you drop the ball here or there, it's sort of like this 80-20 rule. You know, if you're, achieving your goals, let's say 24 days out of a 30-day month, then you are still going to consistently be moving towards your goal. So, whenever we go into rehearsal and we feel really tired, one of the things that we'll say to each other is something is better than nothing. And then we get in there and we start rehearsing even though we're tired. And then that rehearsal can quickly change and it can become something really productive. And then that little something that we were planning on doing really did become something. And it was just another day marked off on the calendar, moving closer towards the preparation of our presentation at a competition or our presentation at a concert, whatever it happens to be. So,
Well, and I think that learning that discipline is important because there's in life there's always going to be situations where you're going to have to force yourself to do something. Why not force yourself to do something that you really would be excited about if it took off eventually? So you're cultivating that discipline of making yourself do it in spite of how you feel or what you're thinking. You're just doing it. That helps you in all life situations. So you're getting used to that feeling. You're training that part of your brain. You're training that part of your activity, and at the same time, it's on something that if it does become what you're dreaming it will, then you're not going to be upset that you tried. And basically, what I'm saying is, even if it doesn't make it, maybe it'll turn to something completely different, but like something that you would have never dreamed of, which is the case for us. What we dreamed of was like here, and what happened was like crazy. So we didn't know it was going to happen. We liked creating, we liked doing our own business, and so we just what's the harm in trying? You don't like the situation that you're in now. Like, what do you have to lose?
well, the only thing you have to lose is tomorrow if you don't start. So that's what I would say is like, again,
Time. You're losing time.
It's nice to have dreams, but everything on this side of eternity is finite.
Which is why you were talking about like the political realm, like everything that's going on, coming up. It's a big year because of the election. And so people are kind of like nervous or not sure, and, what should I do and where should I go and all of this stuff like that. Those are big things to be concerned about, but it's not helping you here and now. And what you said earlier to me was like, tomorrow is never promised. So why not waste your time on something that you're excited about or something that you're curious about trying out? You're not going to lose that. So at least like live your life today, live your life now. Take an hour, right? Oh, geez. Fell. Take an hour. Take an hour out of this evening to just jot some things down and like get your thoughts out on paper. Even that may seem small and like it's not going anywhere. You don't know. So you've at least taken a little bit of time to pursue whatever it is that your goal is, whether it's building your Instagram, creating your own business, getting out of having to work for somebody else. In our case, get out of dance studios. There's a lot of dancers that are kind of trapped in studios and they don't know how to get out. So we have the answers.
Yeah.
And it is possible.
And if you would like personal consultation on that, you can find us on Instagram at BC Dance Passion.
Finger gun.
So I think I'll kind of, last little detail I'll add on top of what you just said, but can you go ahead and get to the questions or find the questions that we're going to be doing?
I can.
So these are, again, a few questions that we selected that we really wanted to touch on because they were great questions and we were excited to get to them. But piggybacking off of what Chelsea said, if you can take an hour out of your evening tonight and just say, what can I do tomorrow? Like, here's my dream. Here's my goal. What can I do tomorrow to take one baby step towards
whatever
that
it is.
goal.
Yeah, go back to our video. If you haven't watched our video of taking control of your life, go and watch that because we gave 3 top starting tools that cost you nothing to just get you going. And then, like Brandon was saying, like write down on your list of things. Just take like a couple of minutes. It wouldn't even be like an hour. Just take a couple of minutes to write out some things, and then circle or check mark the ones you want to do tomorrow. And make sure that it's like, go back and watch the video so we can give you all of the tools. But do the things that you can immediately do tomorrow morning without having to leave the house or anything, and start there.
Yep. All right, you ready to get into some questions?
Yes, I'm not sure which one I would prefer to answer first.
Okay, well, let's
So
go.
we have an amateur question for amateur dancers. We have a professional dancer's question as well, and then a business question.
Let's do the business question real quick.
Business question?
Yep.
Did you have to work part-time jobs when first starting your business together?
Okay. So the quick answer is yes. And a lot of people will sort of romanticize this stuff. You know, like they'll say, you know, I'm Rocky Balboa and I'm trying to become a championship boxer, and I was, you know, stacking cans on the shelf at like, you know, 7-Eleven or whatever. It doesn't
Aren't those
matter.
the stories that you love, though?
Yes, they are the stories that you love because it's
And
about.
it helps you get through those moments.
Yeah, because we all have those sort of what we would consider a low point or what we would consider like a lowly job, although every job is important. But yeah, so Chelsea and I, we worked for schools, and then when we decided we wanted to go out on our own, there was a few weeks where we were doing okay financially, and then we weren't. So then it was like, okay, it's time to
Shift.
the lessons aren't cutting it right now, so we need to get another source of income. So I went and I worked at the mall. I worked at Swarovski, you know, which is basically like they sell like little crystal figurines and jewelry that's not.
Why did you start working there, babe?
The reason I started working at Swarovski is because the biggest reason is they were one of the first businesses that got back to me. So just to put that out there, I went and applied at like 4 different places, and they all had something to do with what I had experience in. So I applied for a GNC. I applied at Swarovski. I'm trying to think of the 2 other places that had something to do with clothing. But the reason I liked Swarovski was because in our profession, the crystals that are on, you know, mostly the ladies' costumes, but the crystals themselves are Swarovski crystals. And they're really good quality, and it makes the, you know, dancers look like they're plugged into something.
He's like a sponge. I don't know how he internalizes all this stuff, but basically he knew more about Swarovski stones than the current employees of
the people who worked there.
So, and he was so like Brandon gets passionate about stuff. So yeah, you took that as your part-time job.
And like I said, they were one of the only people who reached out to me. So this is all part of the question is like, you know, what sort of job should I get until you can self-sustain in your own business? And that's why I say I'm not romanticizing it. I applied for several different places. Only one got back to me. That's the one I took because we needed to pay the bills yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, so it's important to, again, like, this is going to be a temporary thing. You're not always going to have to be doing this. And then there was a short while where I was working there. And then in order to help out with that, we were still trying to build our business, still trying to teach our lessons. And then we were trying to make social media build together, which at that time we had zero clue what we were doing. We were just doing stuff. And then on top of it, you went ahead and you got another job that was related to our field.
It's fitness and teaching like a fitness bar class and yeah.
So then eventually she kind of, to help me, she started teaching even more at this fitness place. And you even got me roped into the fitness place so I could leave my job at the mall and I could go to a different place where I'd be doing a little bit less work, not physically, but a little bit less work time-wise.
We were very smart with choosing which directions we wanted to go. Like you said, like, I mean, you have to do what you got to do. It's not ideal, but how can you use it to your advantage? The pay for the fitness stuff was much better than your Swarovski job. Like I was able to get him out of there pretty quickly with taking on extra classes and stuff like that. But I think that just utilizing, even in those jobs, I think that what people miss is like, okay, did you have to work part-time jobs when you first started your business? Yes. But they weren't great situations. They weren't bad ones, but of course, work is work, and you're still working for someone else. Um, the good thing about being under someone else who owns the business, you don't have to pay the rent, you don't have to pay the electric bill, you don't have to pay the water bill, you don't have to pay the employees. You're the employee. So you have time within that setting, even if you're kind of in that transitionary period where we were, even for him and I, in those situations, we eliminate drama from our, like the last thing we want is drama in our life. But it happens, and other people just thrive off of drama. They live off of it. And so when we started working in these other places, we learned how to work around those things. So, you're not in the best case scenario. You don't plan on staying there forever, but you can use all of those tools, especially the ones that are meant for attacks on you. Just turn it around and use it as, this is character building. I'm learning how to handle these situations and calm down, and use this time to kind of figure out, how do they run their business? What do they charge for this and what do they charge for that? You're slowly taking in information. You're learning how to run a business without having to have that pressure on you right away. So even though it was kind of like, in our minds at the time, we were like, this is a step down. We're failures. We've done, nothing, and look at where we are, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, we actually were able to take those situations and use it to promote and do what we really wanted to do. Had we not been observant and strategic, we would have just been kind of busy idiots out in the world. We've got our business, blah, like spending money where we shouldn't be spending it, and, promoting, paying for ads, all of this stuff that we shouldn't have been doing. We could skip all of that because we learned from other people's failures and we were observant. That was
Yeah.
a long-winded answer.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you don't just learn from people's good examples. If you're clever, you'll learn from other people's mistakes.
Correct. And you learn how to control yourself. Take control of your own reaction and emotions. Be assertive and direct. People don't like that, but you're learning how to cultivate that business mindset, that authoritative person who's not movable. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
There's a big difference between being a jerk and being firm in your boundaries. So
Yes.
establishing your boundaries can basically be like, it's an electric fence, right? If you see the fence and you don't touch the fence can't hurt you. But if you touch the fence, you're going to get shocked. So
That means two things.
so it's basically
Get
like,
shocked.
you're not being a jerk, you're not being rude, but here's my boundary.
Well, you're learning how to be direct and flat out without emotion, because the drama queens will always come out. They love to drum it up and try to create this big emotional whirlwind. And I've been in situations where I'm like, wow, I wish I would never have, I didn't realize that that's what they were trying to do, and I got sucked up into it. So we've had time after time after time, it's everywhere. So we've gotten really good at, okay, well, this is how we're going to respond. People are not going to like it, but we're going to be learning how to assert ourselves, move forward in business. And you're going to have conflicts when you're going into business anyway. So learning how to handle those situations calmly and assertively is key to a longevity.
So last 2 cents on this, and then we'll go into the next point or the next question that we have. Try and, like Chelsea said, be clever. Your temporary time where you're going to be working part-time jobs until your business is big enough to
It's
sustain
a good
itself.
tool.
This is a time for you to, like I said, learn and be clever. Don't think of it as like a step down or you're wasting time, because it certainly is a waste of time if you think it is. But if you try and find aspects about it that are basically potential training tools for implementing into your own business, then it was not a waste of time. It was a season well
And
spent.
and that's the other thing is like in these places, people don't respect you and you're treated like trash. So it's not fun. It's not a fun experience, but this is just reality. This is the workplace. And so if you can just take these moments of like going above and beyond, not for a gain or a promotion or whatever, for your own training, so that you can always you will never look back and be like, well, I went like too hard and I did too good of a job back then. I shouldn't have done it. You're like, these are good things. These are good qualities once you've gotten out of that situation that you pull into your own business, which makes you stand out from these other businesses because it's hard work. People don't want to do more. They think they deserve more and do less. So if you're going out there and knowingly you're not going to get paid more, you're not going to be treated better, you're not going to get the promotion you think that you deserve, but you're still doing it, these are really good character qualities moving forward where you will be able to charge more, you will be able to demand respect with respect, and walk confidently because look, I've come from a crap of a place and I persevered through it, and I persevered through it with honor. And there's just something about that, like, you don't have to, when you've walked it, when you've actually done it yourself, there's like no need. Those are the people that walk into the room where everyone's kind of like, they almost get like nervous or upset that you're there just because you have that confidence. And it's not that you're trying to like throw your weight around, but you have that confidence in yourself that you've been through hell and you've been able to persevere through it with your head held high. You've done above and beyond. No one can argue with that.
All right, I think let's go to question number 2.
Question number 2. Do you want the amateur one or the professional one?
Okay.
Amateur one. Any advice to amateur couples looking to get into cabaret?
I'm assuming when you say amateur, you mean neither of you is a teacher.
I think that that's what it is.
Okay,
But
so let's assume that because if you're not familiar with the dance industry and you're just watching this for the first time, you have professional divisions, which is both partners are professional. They do it for a living. The word professional doesn't always mean the person's any good. Just putting that out there. It's just the category that you paid your money and you showed up to the competition and you're in a
most
professional
of the
division.
time, it's
Most of the time, the person's good.
professional dancers.
Second category is pro-am, which is just shorthand for professional amateur. So one person on the team is a professional. They get paid to teach and dance and all this other stuff. The other person's just doing it as a hobby. And then finally, if it's an amateur couple, again, amateur not meaning that they're bad. It just means that neither of them does this as a profession. This is strictly their hobby, of which there are some amateur couples who are better than some professional couples. So just now that we've got to clarify some of the language, can you ask the question one more time?
If we have any advice to amateur couples looking to get into cabaret, first of all, coaching. Sup? Get some coaching. You need guidance for sure.
Well, and this is something that we actually talked about earlier before we even started going live. There's a lot of amazing content and information out there, and I personally, I wasn't born in the Midwest, but I'm very much like a Midwesterner. If I can go to the store and I can buy gloves, or I can figure out how to kill my own sheep, make the skin, and sew it together myself, and bam, I've got my own gloves, and it looks like a child made them.
I like this analogy.
So I'm just someone who loves to learn things and make my own things and do it on my own. And there's nothing wrong with that. But here's the problem. When it comes to certain skill sets, would you rather learn it in 24 to 72 hours, or would you rather spend 6 months doing it poorly and then one day everything clicks? The choice is yours. Your time is your time. But when it comes to learning lifts online, a quick example would be like there's these people on Instagram right now who will find like a professional dancer or gymnast or something like that. They'll do some sort of acro stunt or dance move, and then these amateurs will get on there and they'll like emulate it. They'll do it poorly and dangerously, and then they'll start teaching in the comment section down below. And it's like there is a definitive difference between someone who has paid for their training, who has put their body through the ringer, who has paid their dues and learned from other professionals, and then there is a far cry distinction from someone who has purely been self-taught. Nothing wrong with self-taught. Again, I just talked about making my own freaking gloves. That was a joke. But all I'm saying is you could save yourself a lot of time and a lot of heartache. So Chelsea's first bit of advice, anyone
coaching.
who's looking to get into cabaret, get coaching. You can learn a lot of stuff on Instagram, a lot of stuff on YouTube. Please, please, for the sake of your shoulders, your back, your body, your sanity.
Well, with what we do, it's hard. There are a lot of professionals in our division currently that don't teach lifts.
Yep.
So it's like the reason they do that is because it's not like teaching a cha-cha basic where you can be on your own 2 feet and you kind of learn like how to distribute your weight and everything. This is like, it can be very dangerous. The simplest movement could really hurt you. And so this is why like some of the professionals are like, I won't do it with anybody else but my partner, and that's that. So no, Brandon and I have taken a lot of time and money investing into our knowledge, like college worth of tuition, not to gain a placement, but to gain knowledge about how we can effectively and safely do these lifts, but not only that, be able to impart this knowledge to somebody else safely and according to your level. So if you're an amateur couple, amateur dancer, and you're wanting to learn lifts and stuff like that, leave us a comment or private message us to get a consultation or to get a coaching so that we can better direct you. Either we will be the right coaches for you or we can help you find somebody who's going to be better for you. But I think that getting some guidance from someone, especially in this division, if you really have a love for the craft and you really want to get good at it, like Brandon said, either take 6 months learning it on your own and just trying to figure it out, or invest some time and money into it and really hone in on that skill.
Get it well.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to do a part B to this question, but like tips for amateur couples wanting to get into cabaret. A couple things I'll point out. The division itself, cabaret, theater arts, exhibition, whatever name it wants to go by, depending on the organizer of the competition, the division itself is going through a bit of an identity crisis. So I'm going to put my 2 cents out there because it's my opinion and I'm totally entitled to it. Theater
Strap
arts.
in.
Theater arts is one of the 5 major styles of ballroom dance. You have international Latin and ballroom, you have American rhythm and smooth, and you have theater arts. All 5 of these make up ballroom dancing. Again, theater arts is one of the 5, so it needs to be dancing. If it's just an exhibition of lifts, that's called circus, whether it's Cirque du Soleil, which is like champagne, or there's amateur circus, which can be not so champagne, but still fun to watch. That's a totally different thing. So you have to have both dance skill and you have to have stunt skill as well. Some people call it tricks, some people call it lifts. But in our division, it needs to be this seamless blending of dancing and lifting at the same time. And I believe it really should tell some sort of story or have some sort of theme. Just going out there and doing things feels very amateur to me. It feels like what a teenager would believe that theater arts is. So a lot of the artistry gets robbed out of it if it's just, I just
I
want to
think
do cool
people
things.
can tell that too. People can, when they're looking at it and it's just like a me fest and you're just like, look what I can do, look what I can do. I mean, it's not attractive, but if you want to do that, fine.
Yeah.
But I think the majority of people, when they see it, they know it. They've got people's numbers. I don't think that they, are dissuaded because of the fancy lifts that people are doing. But yeah, it is kind of all over the place when it comes to that. But for amateurs, they don't have to worry about any of that.
No, I know, but I'm encouraging whomever is going to be entering into the division, either during our time or after our time. I would love to see this division.
Prepare thyself.
I would love to see this division go in a positive and artistic direction, not the current direction that it's going.
The whole system would have to change because
Not on the dancer's end.
not on the dancers end. No, yeah, the dancers can definitely.
They can be the change that they want to see in the
Our
world.
couples will be the ones that are putting art, true art, out there. But the system itself, just like anything else, is very political. You can purchase your placement easy. So as long as you're going into it with a passion for the art itself and you love to express, like we are passionate about it. That's why we're still in it. But if you're looking for a placement, you either have to sell yourself and go with it and be owned, or you just have to get used to, like we are, like you just have to get used to, people are not going to understand why you're there. They're going to be upset that you're not playing the game. Sorry. I'm not going to, I love the art. I don't like the political side of it. I never will, and I'll never participate in it. So you have to, as this is more for like the professionals, you'd have to make that decision on your own. Okay, well, who am I moving forward in that?
Yeah. So just remember that if this is your passion, use it for your passion. So Chelsea and I go to competition as a opportunity for us to basically justify all of our hard work in the rehearsal space.
And to meet you guys.
Yeah, and to
Because
meet
I
new people.
like one of my favorite things going into competitions now since our Instagram is just running into people that like always come up to us. We want to say hello. We want to get the pictures. Like it's so encouraging, and we love you guys, and the fact, like, the internet can be a really nasty place. Fortunate we've had a lot of hate, but fortunately the majority of like the people that stick around and really love us, like that we always say thank you. You're so sweet. You're so kind. We really truly mean it. We're not just saying it like, eh. No, we really mean it. Like it means a lot to us.
So yeah, just make sure that you're doing it because again that you are passionate about it, and your placements and prize money are never going to be the reasons to do professional ballroom dancing. So that's my last 2 cents on that. What's the next question?
At what point in your dancing career you felt like professionals? That's a really good question.
It's easy too. 2014.
2014.
So Chelsea and I we've been competing together since 2010. Is that right? Or 2009?
No, 2010 was when we first started.
Okay, 2010 is when we did our very first competition. 2009 is when we, I
Met
think,
each
got our
other.
first coaching and started rehearsing and
Yeah.
everything. So we were extremely passionate at first. Like we would try new lifts, things that we had never done before, because we were passionate about it. We had our coachings, and so we had our heading. If we just rehearse these things, we'll become good someday, right? And then there was
Dreamers.
and then
That
there
was
was
a good time.
a period of time in there where work got in the way, life got in the way,
Well, that was a whole other video.
insecurities got in the way. So when we really felt professional, it's not that we didn't dress professional, it's not that we didn't act professional. When we really felt professional, for me, I'll let you speak on your own, but when I really felt professional was in 2014. I wasn't in control of my life, my sleep, my health, my eating, my training, nothing. So what I did was I decided to join a transformation challenge. I decided to change my diet. I decided to start going to the gym with zero excuses, and I wasn't Brandonizing. What I mean is like making little Brandon changes to
Brandon eyes.
yeah, to any aspects of the program. I just followed the program 100%. I just had faith in it, and I knew that I had tried not following anything, so I was going to try something that had nothing to do with me. And when I yielded to that and I just took a step each and every single day into taking control of my life, I finally started to lose weight. I had more energy, more confidence, and then that directly translated into our rehearsal. Because we were taking control of so many aspects of our life, our dancing, it's like it like impacted us into our identity as dancers, I guess. And so it wasn't just what we did in the rehearsal space that made me a professional. it's every other choice I made throughout the day that made me a professional. And that's when I felt professional. Was like every part of my day helped me with my rehearsal, helped me with my competition. And that's when it started feeling real for me. How about you?
I would say, yeah, definitely in 2014, because we had finally had we got our freedom a little bit, and we took over our lives. We were going to the gym, we were losing weight, we were going to sleep on time. We were being responsible, basically.
Mm-hmm.
We were being responsible, and we had the freedom to finally do that. And instead of just like showing up for a regional here and there or a national here and there, we were going to competitions like 2 to 3 times a month. Like, it was crazy how much we were competing, like a ton. And I think that, I don't know, 2014, I would say yes, that we felt professional then, like legitimate professional dancers, because we were doing it. But we were happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we finally, because we did not have a support system. So we finally figured out something that we like. I think that it was kind of like the realization, like, hey, if this is gonna happen for you, you gotta step it up. You're gonna have to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And owning that, just like we're telling people here, owning that and stepping up to the challenge and just going for it, because what do you have to lose? I think that's where I think it was more confidence for me. It's not necessarily like, oh, now I'm a professional. We definitely were, for sure. I think that they were recognizing us, they knew who we were, all of this stuff. But that wasn't, I mean, yeah, we found our identity there in our professional career.
Well, I'm not going to say that that anybody possessed the ability to not respect what we were doing. But I will say that because we took responsibility, we had an immense amount of respect for what we were doing. Because it was one of those mentalities where we left no stone unturned. So the amount of confidence that you have when okay, there's not another rehearsal I could have done. There's not another early morning session I could have woken up and worked out. There's not another meal I could have, missed, or I've done everything I could
To get to this point.
Yep. So
Yeah.
when you walk into the ballroom or when you walk onto the floor and you do your performance, it's basically like whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Right, because we did all of the work that we could in order to get here. I think that's huge. And we come from humble backgrounds, and this is what I was talking about earlier in the video, was that this is where that confidence comes from, is because you've been to hell and back and you continued on and you kept going. I think that it gives you a sense of, I can do this, and you've had to learn how to be confident in yourself and motivate yourself. And it's huge. The only life lessons, only life experience and risks is going to bring that confidence along.
Yeah. And there's one more thing that I'd like to add to that, because you actually said in there that we would do the occasional regional, we would do the occasional national. So everything was kind of, again, like we talked
Hit or
about
miss.
in our previous video, it was reactionary. And the biggest difference between not just rehearsal, training, and eating, but the biggest difference was looking into the future, looking at the calendar, and saying, yes, we're doing this state level competition, then we're going to go to this national, then we're going to go. We planned ahead, and each event was leading us to the next event. So, like you were saying, people starting to recognize you when you walk into the room, not because like you're like amazing, but it's because
Look at me, you know who I am.
no, but
No,
it's,
we were showing up.
you're consistently
we were
showing up.
consistently showing up, and I think that that's what.
Yeah, so
what
that's
did it.
like it wasn't just professional again in one aspect of life, because you can rehearse all you want. You can rehearse 6 days a week, and you can rehearse for 4 months. But if you never get out on the floor and perform, you're only getting better at rehearsing. The only thing, unfortunately, that makes you better at competing and performing
Is competing and performing.
is competing and
Because
performing.
you can't. That's another thing that I wish I could remember who said it, but they were like, you cannot teach someone something that you've never done yourself. Like, if you've not done it, you cannot teach it. You cannot lead someone through something that you haven't gone through.
Yeah, I think the way she put it is you cannot lead someone to where you've never been.
Yes, I like it. It's true. You can help people. I'm not saying like you can't help people through struggles or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. But like dancing in particular, you can't just pretend like, oh, this is what you're gonna do when you perform, and this is what you're gonna do when you compete. This is what it's like when you. There's something completely different that happens. Something switches when you start performing and getting into competitive mode. There's something that there's just something there. I don't know if it's because of the adrenaline or the anticipation, the risk. Like for our division, like we're the only couple out on the floor and we're doing lifts. So there's a huge risk there of looking fantastic and doing a great job or making a complete fool of yourself and then having to get up afterwards and like
And do your bows.
yeah, get up afterwards. The worst is like if you've like done something bad and then you're in the lineup for the placement, you're like it's last, I know it. And you're just like walking up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to make a really big snafu
But I
drop
think
mistake.
it's good. It's good because once it's happened, who cares?
Hey.
You went out there and did it. You got it out. You've had the experience, and now you know how to like move on from that with dignity and
Ooh, you know what? That's actually really good. Let's do last thing on being a professional, and then we can move on to the final question, yeah? Last thing on being a professional, you are not only professional when everything goes your way, because you were just talking about making mistakes and how do you recover after that, because that's the other thing is a professional is someone who has good sportsmanship, but also has victories. More importantly, they have losses. So what makes you a good professional is not how well how happy you are when everything's going right in your life, but how you recover and your character when things are going wrong. So to me, that's the true definition of a professional. Because if you want to know who someone really is, you'll be able to see it in their dark moments.
You will. Like when they're not getting their way, they're gonna act really bizarre, very bizarrely, and it'll come through their character, and it's because they're so used to getting their way and they're so used to it being them, and then when it's not or something cracks, they like because they've not trained this muscle of loss, this muscle of risk, this muscle of dealing with envy or a loss that you shouldn't have lost. Like they're not used to having to deal with that. And I do believe that like as a true professional, you learn how to go through those moments, and everyone does. It is the
Wait,
person that's never
say
made
hi
a
to Molly first.
Huh?
Say hi to Molly first.
Hi, Molly.
Hello, Molly. Okay.
Wait, how did you know?
Because it
Who said
came up
what?
on the screen.
I missed it.
This is amazing. So people can chat right at us.
I love
So
it.
sorry, you were saying everyone does. Everyone goes through it.
Everyone goes through. No person is perfect. No person can just continue on winning. Well, I mean, there are exceptions. But everyone enjoys seeing the underdog. Somebody like the people that I enjoy is the ones that like our coaches, phenomenal dancers, fantastic at what they do, and on top of it they're so humble, so down to earth. And that's like that to me is like, oh my gosh, like
So their humility
it
is
speaks
what?
volumes.
Yeah,
It
it-
speaks volumes. And I think that like the question of when did you feel like professionals? It's a hard question for me because I think that we really felt like we were like, okay, this is it. We are professional competitors. This is us. In 2014, but we went through a couple of things after that. Every achievement that we continue to get is like another level of oh my gosh, I'm still, you're always continuing to learn. I think that the way that you carry yourself and your character, that's what will help you with knowing I'm a professional. And it's being able to get through the hard moments, keep your character, be honorable, don't be a backstabber, and stay true to that throughout your career.
I think let's go ahead and move on to the fourth and final question. What is it? What's your least favorite part about dance? Ooh, you want me to go first?
Maybe you should go first.
Okay, I'll try and be quick and condense it.
We don't want to end on a bad note.
No, but I'll end with something, I guess, on the flip side of that. So dancing it's an amazing art form. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It gives you goals. It just makes sense to like move your body to music. It's really, really, it's incredible. But on the flip side of that, there's this dark underbelly to dancing.
The
And
underbelly.
if you start focusing on those aspects of dance, then they will suck the joy and passion out of what it is that you're doing. And my encouragement would be to, as easy as it is to slip into that mentality, don't. So what I mean is like, Chelsea and I have mentioned a few times during this live stream that there are politics in dance. We're talking more on like the
Professional side.
professional side of things. There are politics in dance. Sure, there are. Just like there are steroids in professional bodybuilding. It's like one of those things that everyone knows about, but no one likes to talk about because it's kind of taboo,
But it's there.
which is ridiculous. Yeah. So, anyways, the political side of things, the cattiness, the little games that other competitors will try and play with competitors before anyone has stepped on the floor. There was a few years ago when I looked at Chelsea and I said, I'm tired of not being able to watch our competitors dance. Like it would freak me out to watch them dance, to hear people give them applause. It would like make me forget parts of my routine. So what I told Chelsea is I said, I'm going to start joking around with people, not to throw them off, but because I'm just trying to lighten up the mood. Like there's like this weird tension, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to not be a stick in the mud. I wanted to, not be like cold towards our competitors anymore.
But when we're all there, we've all worked extremely hard. It's not like all of us want to do bad or
Right.
like we all want to do well.
Exactly. Everyone's worked hard. We all want to do well,
So
right?
can we just lighten it up a little bit, guys?
So quit thinking that these people are your enemies
Yeah.
just because they're in your division. That makes no sense. They didn't spit on your mom's knee. They haven't done anything to you. They're just there.
The poor knee and your mom.
So
So this is like what you don't like about dancing.
well, this is what I tried to do is I tried to start again just being light with my competitors, being joking around, just asking how they were, and it worked with a few, you know what I mean? And some of those people are our friends today.
Yeah.
And then my least favorite thing though is the people who show up to competition and it's like a bad C-rated Disney movie where like here's the evil dancers and then here's like the good dancers, and I'm like it's silly to me, the way people act at competition. So I guess that's my least favorite part of dance is just the childish nature of some people in the competition realm. That's my least favorite part. But that's not why I got into dancing in the first place. So I guess to leave people with something good. If you focus on why you got into dance in the first place, then those things will affect you less. I'm not going to say that they won't affect you. They will affect you less.
Yeah, you just learn how to ignore those things because they're going to be there. Like you can't change it. What you can change is how you react to it. What you can control is just like being in the moment and enjoying yourself. And I think that I think this is why people get so mad at Brandon and we're not trying to piss people off, but we do. And it's because we are joyful. We've finally gotten over the drama, the ridiculousness, the competitiveness. Like we love dancing and we love sharing it with people and people love it. People love dancers sharing their craft and our job, because I would say my least favorite thing about dancing is when it's turned into anything but about the dancing, which is a lot of stuff. But when it starts to veer off to your hair color and costume, and it starts to veer off on who knows who and who you paid and all this, I'm like, what is happening right now? So that's the stuff I hate. But for us, when we go into these situations, because they're going to be there, it's very draining. And sometimes I don't look forward to going in and seeing specific people. But we go into it and we say, our job is we want to transport people into a different world, even if for 3-4 minutes. And we want the audience to experience something. We're not here to show off. We're not here to say, I'm better than this, all of that stupid bullcrap. We want to leave the floor with a gift to the people that are watching it. And our hope and our prayer is just that someone feels something from that, someone gets an experience, some sort of emotion out of it. It's art. We want to leave someone with something, even if it's not the exact pinpoint of what we want them to get out of the routine. They're leaving with some sort of emotional response, and that is the goal. And then when that's the goal and you're just doing the best that you can and you're creating and you're being artistic and you're leaving your heart out on the floor, then all of the other stuff doesn't matter. And you're free from it. That's the big thing. And I think that's the big thing that people don't like. They don't understand it, but they don't like it. They're like, why are they so joyful? It's because we're free. And deep down you know it. You know that we're free and we are doing what we want when we want. And when you let go of all of the unnecessary bullcrap, that's when you'll start to find true joy in the art. It's already hard enough work without the drama. So can we just leave that behind and move forward through this life?
Yeah. So, kind of on the flip side of that, what's your favorite part of dance? And we can finish out with that.
What's my favorite part of dance?
Yeah.
See, I think deeply about this stuff.
Can I go?
No.
Okay.
My favorite my favorite part of dance, me personally, so like on a personal level, is when I hear music, I see movement. Like my body is like the instrument. It wants to emote what's happening with sound.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part about dance is that it brings music to life. It brings it to a physical reality, to where you're hearing it, you're feeling it, but now with dance you're actually getting to see it in action.
Yeah, I like that.
Top that, Brandon.
You like...
Your turn.
I'll top it.
You're gonna top that? I didn't. It just came to me. I was like, I don't think I've ever thought that before.
My favorite part of dance. Well, I like that you said that dance brings music to life. Like, music already affects you on such a deep level.
Like a deep level. Like, it's spiritual
It is spiritual.
music.
But to see the physical medium, the visual, come together with the auditory, it's like even more spiritual.
Yeah. It's like goosebump.
It's goosebumpy.
Moving.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Okay, so my favorite part of dance. I would say everything that is significant in my life, I can root back to dancing. So it was like all going through grade school, it was always like, where are you going to college? What are you doing after you get done? After you graduate? Where are you going to college?
The
What are you
pressures
gonna
of
do?
knowing what you're gonna do right now.
Like middle school, it was like you had to know what you were going to major in by the time you got to college. And I was going year after year after year. Everyone was picking majors. Everyone was like, they knew what they wanted to do after high school. I had no clue what I wanted to do. And I kind of felt like,
We're quite the pair, aren't we?
yeah, I felt like an outcast, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And it was finally when I discovered dancing at 16 years old. Basically, I was an awkward 16-year-old teenage boy, and I discovered swing, and swing was kind of weird and awkward, and I was weird and awkward, and it was, but that's what was cool about it. So, and it was music, so it was like I could coordinate movement with music, and it was weird, but it was cool.
You could attach your weirdness to something,
Yeah.
finally.
And finally, it like paid off. So-
Luckily.
So it was like the first thing that I felt sure about. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school, but I knew I'd still be doing that, like, if I could. And I desired to know more about it, and I desired to be a part of it more in whatever way, shape, or form. So I would spend hours on YouTube watching the IDSF showcases that they would have over in like China or Japan,
Oh yeah.
where the top Latin professionals and ballroom professionals would
Like dreamy
do
eyes.
solos. So they'd turn on music and they'd go out there and they'd do these amazing, beautiful show dances. And I've never seen performing like this in my life. And I just wanted to be a part of it, but I didn't know how. And then, of course, everything significant in my life has followed from there. Like, I never wanted to leave Florida or travel. Since I've discovered dance, I've traveled to Canada, I've been to Mexico, I've been to the UK, and now to the Czech Republic. So it's the world has opened up to me because of dance, and the most important aspect of my life is my marriage to you, my friendship with you. So I met my best friend through dancing, and I have no clue where I would be. I mean, I know how ugly I would be if I didn't have her in my life. I'm not just talking like emotionally. I'm talking like physically. I would be.
Your sideburns were like above your ears.
That's a whole nother video. But I was a very.
Comment if you want to hear about all of Brandon's weirdness.
Yeah, I was an ugly duckling, guys. And this girl,
I
she
think
just,
we both were. Like we were like the perfect pair because we were like ugly ducklings for sure.
Yeah.
We didn't have nobody but each other.
She turned it all around for me. But I met my best friend through dancing, and so that's why no matter what, I think even if we weren't being paid for it, we'd still be doing it.
I think so too. Yeah.
Because even when we weren't being paid for it,
We were doing
we
it.
were still doing it, and it didn't matter who showed up or anything like that.
So what is it specifically from dance that you love, or is it just the fact that a lot of your life experiences from 16 have been
Yeah.
revolved around dance?
The most significant experiences I've had in my life have had something to do with
So
dancing.
do you attach those to dance, or?
Of course I do. Dance was the vehicle that got me the significant experiences. I mean, I've gotten to meet fellow artists from like musicians to people who are good at cinematography to like the places you go, the people you meet, the memories that you have, everything significant I can tie back to dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been this incredible, crazy life, so I almost got emotional there. It's been
Oh
this
boy, he's gonna start crying.
yeah, this incredible, crazy life. So I love dancing. And as, kind of unfortunate as it can be and dark sometimes as it can be, it's so beautiful. And if you really take your time, it sounds cliche, but count your blessings instead of sheep. If you just count your blessings, you're really going to be in a much better headspace.
I think that's why it's good to go back through. Like Brandon and I really like to go back through our memories, which I think we should do some videos talking about like our past and everything. Because when you go back, there's a lot of bad, there's a lot of dark and a lot of heavy stuff, even recent stuff. But there's also a lot of light. There's a lot of good stuff, a lot of cool opportunities, and a lot of amazing people that you come in contact with that are like lifelong friends that otherwise you wouldn't have been able to meet. But the things, like we were talking about it today, like the opportunities that we've gotten from dancing, that they're gifts from God because we did not earn them.
We're nobody from nowhere.
Nobody's from nowhere.
She was born in Amanda, Ohio, which is basically like if you were
Well,
bit
not
by...
in Amanda, Ohio. I grew up in Amanda, Ohio, out in the middle of nowhere, basically.
She was in the sticks. Like if you got bit by a snake, you'd have a better chance of digging your own 6-foot deep grave than you would have making
so
it to
dramatic.
the hospital. She was in the sticks. Like Amish people were asking them for updates.
Okay, the point is, there's been a lot of like crazy things that we would have never thought of. We would have never dreamt of, let alone like if we went back in time and told ourselves back in 2014, hey, this is what's gonna happen. We'd be like, no,
You lie.
lies. I'll have to see it for myself. So it is pretty crazy. It's pretty amazing, and I'm excited to document it, and I'm excited to talk about it, and maybe talk about other people's experiences too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. I think we have occupied them for an hour and 10 minutes now.
We've at least occupied ourselves
For an hour and 10
for
minutes
an hour
now.
and 10 minutes.
Well, either way, the theme of the video was don't wait till tomorrow. Get started on it.
Because
And
look,
this is
nobody's
what
from nowhere made it, and so can
we're doing.
you.
Look at us now. Exactly. So we're not waiting for permission. We're not waiting for
The right time.
anyone else to qualify us. We're getting started on it today, and we will see where we're at in 3 months. We'll see where we're at in 6, 9, 12, 3 years from now. It doesn't matter. We're going to figure that out after we've been consistently taking steps, walking towards a goal, and then hopefully, if you've seen this live stream and you follow us for any length of time, hopefully this age is really cool because we have stayed consistent. And
Unless we'll go back and be like, oh,
we
oh
dropped the
no.
ball there. Yeah, maybe it doesn't age gracefully. But I think that's everything. So
Yeah.
we're gonna go ahead and end the live stream, and I'm
And
bad
order pizza.
and I'm bad at goodbyes.
I'm hungry.
I might get tacos.
Let's go.
All right, you lovely folks. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a wonderful day, and God bless.